Good morning. Happy Monday. September is more than halfway over, which puts us even closer to the holidays. I'm stalling, if you can't tell. Waiting for a few of you to come in. There's Rosemary. There's Papa James and Nana Shirley. I can't wait to hear about this coconut creation. I love anything coconut. Yes, my team did win last night. I stayed up and watched the whole thing because I was terrified that if I went to sleep it would fall apart. And the Giants played good at the end, but my boys won. Yay, Cowboys. I'm a diehard Cowboy fan. Always have been, always will be. I really need them to do good this year because our Rangers did not. It was ugly. So I love to watch, but usually when they play late on Sunday night, I don't stay up for the whole thing because I get up at 5:15 in the morning, but I stayed up last night and watched it to the bitter end, and it was a good game. So I hope y'all had a good weekend. I hope you're ready to face this week. Actually, I hope you're ready to tackle this week. I'm going to share with you just a few little tips and tricks that I think help me, and hopefully they'll help you. And I hope that you'll share yours too. I don't have all the answers. I don't have this all figured out. I've been on this leg of my Weight Watchers journey for I think 3 years now. I've shared with you before, I stopped and started a million times, but I'm in it for life. I'm in it for the long haul, and so I'm always learning, and we can learn from each other. Yes, we are in it together. We're better together, right, JJ? Teamwork. Thank you, Nana Shirley or Papa James. I don't wear orange a lot. I'm not sure why. I love fall colors, but I just grabbed this morning and put it on. So, okay, let's get started. I'll tell you at the end what next week's video is gonna be, because I wanna give you a heads up so you'll have a chance to be ready for it. Let's see, but if I have any announcements, I'm so bad at this. The Thanksgiving Day countdown accountability is ongoing, and hang on a second, I can tell you how many days it is until I have this handy little wheel. We use these in law because everything in law is about calendaring, and so I calendar everything. So if I go to November, well, let's see, I put this on, today is the 17th, okay, November, I think the 22nd is Thanksgiving this year, so we are 66 days from Thanksgiving. So if you're doing that with me, you have 66 days. So set your Thanksgiving Day goals, whether it's something you want to wear Thanksgiving Day or a certain amount you want to lose by then, whatever your goal is. Only you know, and only you need to know. If you want to share it, fine, but set those goals and let's work towards them so that by Thanksgiving Day we can be better than we are today. My goal is to be down 9 pounds, 9 more pounds by Thanksgiving. So I shared last night that last week when I got back from the cruise, I started the bus stop accountability. I had to get back on the bus. I had given myself too many permissions, and the weight was creeping. So last week I started back to basics, and as of this morning, I'm down 3 pounds from what I weighed last Monday morning. Now, I'm not going to lose 3 pounds every week. A lot of that was cruise weight, and so just getting back into my water and eating clean really helped. Mostly I feel better. I feel better physically, but I feel better mentally. I feel like I'm in control again. And that's where I need to stay with my food choices. So I'm posting that pretty much every day, and I hope that you're doing it with me. I also shared last night, today I'm going to start adding back in my workouts, getting my steps in, doing an actual workout 3 times a week, just being more active. I wear an Apple Watch, so if you also wear an Apple Watch and you want to be accountable to each other, feel free to add me. My email address is pamr40@yahoo. I'm all about accountability. So, okay, here are some tips and tricks. Number 1, measure often. And I don't mean just your food. Take your measurements. We all know, if you've been doing this any amount of time, there will be weeks, sometimes weeks in a row, where you're not losing weight on the scale, but you may be losing inches. So take your measurements, write them down, put them in a journal, and refer to them. I love the before and after pictures. I especially love to see people who say, I didn't think I was losing or changing until I saw these side-by-side pictures, and now I can see it. My memories on Facebook this morning popped up the day my daughter left to go back to Scotland, the last time, her dad and I took a picture with her. And, you know, I thought I was looking okay. And then I see that picture and realize, boy, that was before I was, committed and losing the weight. So it's really motivating to see those pictures. So take your measurements. Measure your food often. We tend to get lazy with that and start thinking that we're good at eyeballing it. And sometimes you may be, but there's nothing wrong with checking yourself now and then. My kitchen scale stays out on my counter. It's visible. It's a constant reminder to me to weigh that food. And you know what? It doesn't take any amount of time at all to cut that meat up and throw it over on the scale, or our chips or whatever. I have numerous sets of measuring spoons, measuring cups, and I use them, and I'm often surprised at how off I am when I eyeball it. And sometimes it's in my favor. I've shared with you before that the bags of chips usually will say one serving is about 17 chips or 21 chips or whatever it is. Usually if I weigh them, I get a little bit more than what they estimated. So it's not always a negative thing, but weigh and measure often. Okay, I'll mark those off. Here's the other one. Make using your scanner a game. My husband has the competitive app on his phone because he doesn't do Weight Watchers. But when we go to the grocery store, we get the biggest kick out of scanning food, and he'll go off on his phone and he'll scan something and he'll say, hey, you could have this, it's only 2 points, or man, I'm surprised at how many points this is. So don't get in a rut buying just the same things all the time because you know how many points it is, but try something different. You might be surprised at, there may be a cereal, for instance, that you feel like you could have that as a snack. You might be surprised at how point friendly it is, or you might be surprised at how point friendly it isn't. But use that scanner. It's hands down my favorite Weight Watchers tool. Don't be afraid to use it in the store. Allow yourself extra time when you go to the grocery store so that you can check out things like that. Use it too because foods change. They change the way they make food. Remember the sandwich thins, the deli thins? Those used to be 2 points. For years they were 2 points. All of a sudden, they're now 3 points. So if you don't check and scan even your basic, your regular foods occasionally, you might miss that the manufacturer has changed its processing, and you're cheating yourself if you're not checking every now and then. YouTube is a great resource. I get some great tips. I find some wonderful recipes. I find just some good stories. I told you when I first started back to Weight Watchers this time, I found the twin sisters, the Skinny on Weight Loss, on YouTube. And I went back and started watching them from their very first video on. There are a lot of areas that I could not relate to them, but they were so motivating to me. So find people who motivate you on YouTube and follow them. Leave them comments. Even if it's just a thank you for this week's video, you're encouraging them while they're motivating you. So YouTube is a great free resource. Don't be afraid to use it. And if you find a site on YouTube that you are enjoying, share it with us. Don't share the link, because we don't share links on our page for many reasons, and I know it's hard to understand, but with nearly we're over 80,000 members, and if we share links to other people's YouTube pages and Facebook pages and stuff, I'm fearful that we might be sharing spam or information that isn't accurate. Mostly I'm fearful that we would have droves of people join our group just to promote their page. They're not really here to contribute or to be a part of our family, but they're just there to grow their page. So we don't share links, but if there's a page that you find that is helpful and you're comfortable with it, send me a private message, let me know. And if I agree with you that I think it's a good one, I'll share it. I can get away with it. So YouTube. Pinterest is another one. You may not know, but our group has a Pinterest page. You can go to Pinterest and search Weight Watchers Over 50. We share recipes there, and my only caution to you is just because a recipe on Pinterest says it's Weight Watchers friendly does not mean it's Weight Watchers friendly. A lot of companies will add that information to lure you in, but you should always verify it yourself. Put the ingredients in the recipe builder. I've seen recipes shared at Weight Watchers meetings that aren't accurate. They're old, they're relying on old information. So double check. Nobody's responsible for your points more than you. So I've been guilty of that as a Weight Watchers leader. Someone's given me a recipe and said, you know, this is 2 points, and I've written it, you know, on the board and shared it with my meeting without verifying it, and then I went back and double checked, and sure enough, it's not. So I've had to apologize to my meeting for giving them wrong information, and I hate having to do that. So always verify. Don't trust the internet. We won't get into that. Meal prep. If you're prepared for your week, you're prepared for success. I usually spend Sundays prepping, and I'm trying to reach my lunchbox here. I spend Sundays prepping and cooking and packing our breakfast and lunch and snacks for the week, and I also know what we're going to have for dinner. When I do that, the weeks I do that are the weeks I lose, hands down, every time. So I thought I'd share with you what my day looks like today. This is my lunchbox. It's insulated. I've had it for years, but in it today I have 3 clementines. That's one snack. I have my steel cut oats and a banana. That's my breakfast. I have my little water bottle, and I know how much this holds, and I know how many of these I need to drink before I leave work today. I have a Post-it note that goes right beside my water bottle, and every time I fill it, I put a little mark. I need to have drank 5 of these before I leave work today, and then I'll drink more at home. But if for some reason I didn't get more water in at home tonight, if I have checked off 5 of these before I leave, then I'm comfortable that I've had enough water today. My lunch for this week is, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell anything if I show you, but this is my lunch. So what I did is I took 2 packages of chicken tenders. I seasoned them with salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and I took a large bag of Birds Eye, I think it was, vegetables, frozen vegetables, which was squash, broccoli, cauliflower, and bell pepper. And then I took a large bag of broccoli cuts, and I diced that chicken tenders into bite-sized pieces. I spread all of that out on a large cookie sheet. I drizzled it with some balsamic vinegar, just to add a little bit more flavor, and I baked it. I baked it at 400, 30 minutes covered with foil, and then about 20 minutes uncovered, and then I divided it up amongst our 10 lunch containers. And so it's chicken breast, so my chicken has no points. The vegetables added no points. I will count 1 point for the flavorings. Do I think I have a point's worth? Nope, but I'm gonna count 1 just to be safe. So my lunch this week will be 1 point, and it's a huge container full of vegetables and chicken. So that leaves me a good amount of points to have at dinner. If I don't eat all of my points and I'm full after dinner, then I don't keep eating just to get rid of my points. I don't subscribe to that theory. Some people will tell you that you need to eat all of your points. I disagree with that, and the reason is if you're eating a lot of 0-point food, you're getting plenty of calories whether you're eating your points or not, but you have to be the judge of that, okay? So prep your meals. When you prep for success, you'll be successful. Don't be afraid to order off the menu. I shared with you yesterday after church, we went to lunch with some friends and they chose an Italian food restaurant. That's one of the hardest places for me to order a Weight Watchers friendly meal. It's full of bread and pasta and breaded things and sauces that I have no idea what goes into it. So the waiter came to take our order, and I asked him, I said, "May I ask you a question?" And he said, "Sure." And I said, "Would it be possible for me to get a grilled chicken breast and some grilled or steamed vegetables? No sauce, just chicken and vegetables? And he said, absolutely. So that's what I had. They brought me a plate. Everybody else got their pasta and sauce and bread and cheese and all that. They brought me a plate that had 2 giant chicken breasts and a large portion of vegetables. And it was delicious, and I was perfectly happy and satisfied, and I enjoyed the company, because that's really why we were there, was to enjoy each other's company. And so I made it about that instead of about the food, and that meal was just to fuel me while I enjoyed the conversation with our friends. So don't think just because the menu on this restaurant doesn't look Weight Watchers friendly. Ask. More often than not, they're willing to accommodate you. You just have to be vocal and ask. Okay, so don't be afraid to order off the menu. Accountability. Hold yourself accountable. Find a friend that you can say, I need your support and accountability. You are that to me. When I started sending you snapshots of my meals last week, I knew that if I didn't, somebody would ask. And so it makes me be double sure that what I'm eating is Weight Watchers friendly, and that I know how many points, because I know that you will ask. You're welcome to do that too. If you want to use this group of 81 or 80, I don't even know what we're up to now, 80 something thousand people as your accountability partners, absolutely do it. You need to hold someone accountable, and you need to be held accountable. So if you don't have that person, find them. Accountability keeps us on the bus. Restroom breaks. They're not just to pee. Sorry, they're not. I walk to the restroom. As you can imagine, drinking 5 of these a day, I make several trips to the restroom. So what I have started doing is when I go to the restroom, I look at my steps, my step count, and I walk in place for 200 steps while I'm in there. It goes really fast. I also do 10 squats. We're friends. You can knock out 10 squats really fast. You can do 10 or 15 push-ups against the wall. Just step out away from the wall, lean into it, and push off of the wall instead of the floor. Use that as an opportunity to get a few more steps and a little bit of exercise. If you go to the restroom 6 or 8 times a day, and you did that every time you went, you've just knocked out 1,200 steps and 60 push-ups. Can't beat that. So use that opportunity to get in a little bit more. Here's a big one. If you can't control it, don't buy it. If you can't control your portions, don't bake it. We got here, most of us, needing Weight Watchers because we had a problem with portion control, or because we had a problem overeating a particular food. So this one's a little bit painful, but and you may not agree with me, and that's okay, but this is just my advice. If donuts were a trigger food for you before, you might not want to find an alternative recipe for donuts, because they're still going to have calories, and they're probably still going to have some sugar, and it's still going to be a trigger food for you. I love blueberry and pumpkin donuts. I love them. I know me. If I make a alternative batch of pumpkin donuts, they're going to call my name until they're gone. So I can't have them at home. Even though it's a reduced calorie version of it, it's still a trigger food for me. So about twice a year, usually in the fall, when I'm really on track, we will go out on Saturday while we're running errands, or if we're out playing, and I will let myself have 2 blueberry or pumpkin donut holes, just 2, and that's it. We buy them at the donut store and we take them and leave, and that is enough to satisfy that craving, but I don't have a whole batch of them sitting there in the kitchen calling out to me. So if bagels were a trigger food, or one of those foods that you have portion control, the 2 ingredient bagel may still be a portion control issue for you. If it is, don't have it around. Find something else you can eat instead, that while it may not be the donut or it may not be the bagel, you can control it. This is all about you taking ownership for what goes in your mouth. And until you can control it, don't have it in the house. Don't bake it and don't buy it. Okay, here's the big one. This one's painful. People ask all the time, and I've asked this before, I've fallen off track. I don't know what to do. Somebody tell me what to do. Ever said that? I have. I'll own it. Here's what you do. Just say no. Be a big girl or a big boy. Be an adult and just say no. Would I like to eat a blueberry donut every day? Girl, you have no idea. But I know me. If I go in the donut shop and I go in there telling myself I'm going to buy 1 donut, I end up with 2. So I have to just say no. What do I do to get back to eating healthy? You start eating healthy. There isn't a magic button. There isn't a magic cure. There isn't an answer that anybody can give you other than just start eating healthy. Just start making good choices. Just start tracking. Just start being responsible. But honestly, what it boils down to is just be adult about it. I wish there was an easier answer. I wish there was one that didn't hurt so much, but we all know that it's true. We just have to say no, and we just have to do it. So that's the key to being successful. You being an adult, taking ownership, saying no to the food that you shouldn't be eating, saying yes to the food that you should. Is it always fun? No, it's not. I don't like eating broccoli over eating a blueberry donut. I like broccoli, but I'd rather have the blueberry donut. But I can't do that. If I want to be healthy, and if I want to fit into my clothes, and if I want to have the ability to live longer with a healthy body, because you only get one. If you ruin this body, you don't get another one. So I have to make the adult decision to eat the broccoli or the chicken or whatever it is 99% of the time, so that the 1% of the time I can have that blueberry donut hole and I don't have to feel bad about it. So just say no, ditch the excuses, because that's really what they are. If it's a legitimate reason, it's not an excuse and you don't have to apologize for it. But if it's not, if you're making excuses, stop. Stop making excuses. Stop saying, I don't have time to exercise. I just told you how. If you go to the bathroom, knock out 200 steps. If you do that several times a day, you've at least gotten in more steps than you would have otherwise. Do you watch an hour of TV a week? Then use the commercials as time to exercise. Stand up, walk in place, lift some cans, do some arm work, If you're able to, do some squats and lunges during commercials. If your legs won't let you do that, do something. But we have to ditch the excuses, because that's really all they are. Whatever your excuse is this week, get rid of it. It's going to keep you from being successful, and it's not worth it. Here's the thing. This is what I had to do last week. This is my final point. Apply the brakes. When you start gaining momentum going downhill, apply the brakes. You and only you can say enough is enough. And that's what I had to do when I got back from my cruise. I gave myself permission to enjoy the cruise, and I did enjoy it, but I knew starting Monday it was time to stop looking for an alternative, faster way. It was time to stop justifying my wrong decisions. It was time to stop looking at other plans that may or may not work. It was time to stop trying to talk myself into doing anything other than what I knew worked for my body. It was time to put on the brakes and say, okay, that's it. No more. I'm back to the basics. So that's what I did. I'm back to meal prepping, packing, weighing, measuring, tracking, and holding myself accountable with you. And I encourage you to do the same thing. If you're on that downhill slope, apply the brakes and get back on this bus with me. Somebody asked me, how long are you going to do this? Until the 9 pounds are gone and beyond. I will probably have to be accountable to someone for the rest of my life, because it keeps me going in the right direction. And you may be that way too. You may not. You may be, somebody who you're perfectly fine doing this by yourself. And if you are, I applaud you, but I'm not. I need the support. So I love that you're doing it with me, and you're holding me accountable. So I'm going to look real quick at some of your comments, and we'll do that, and then I'll let you go. We've been going for half an hour now. So Wanda says, success for me is not using food to deal with an emotional issue. Food doesn't change our emotions. Food doesn't change the circumstance. It doesn't change the issue you're dealing with. It pains me when I see someone say, this tragedy has happened in my life, and all I want to do is eat. Okay, well, you eating isn't going to change that. It's just going to multiply the emotional issues that you're dealing with. So turning to food is not ever the solution. Pat says, I'm not good by myself. I have to be accountable. That's me. I need you. I need friends that I can be real with, I can be honest with, and I can share. And I need you to share with me. It makes this journey so much more enjoyable when we're doing it together. So, okay, I'm going to let you go. I've had you for a half an hour, and I thank you so much for doing this with me. I think Linda, if you're on here, correct me. I don't know that we have a t-shirt campaign going on right now. If we do, Linda will straighten me out. We will soon. We will have one for the fall. Eileen asked, how do you deal with emotional problems? I talk about them with friends. I pray. I get into the Word, which is a vital tool for me, and I walk. I do some of my best thinking when I'm walking, or I'm in my sewing room, but I don't turn to food anymore because food doesn't fix it. I've learned that the hard way. It's just never gonna change whatever it is you're dealing with. You eating a tub of ice cream is only gonna add guilt to whatever emotion you're already dealing with. But I've yet to see somebody say, I was an emotional wreck, so I ate a half a gallon of Bluebell and I feel so much better. It just doesn't. It's not the cure. It's not the fix. So anyway, jump on board with me. Get on the bus. This bus is headed to the goal line, and I want it to be full when we get there. And Linda says Team Lisa is reopened. It will print if we sell 8 more in the next 7 days. Okay, so if you weren't able to get one of the shirts for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October, it has reopened, and you have an opportunity for 7 more days to order. And I think that's it. I will check your comments throughout the day and answer as many questions as I can. If you have specific questions that you don't want to send public, send them to me in a private message and I will be happy to answer them. It may take me a while because I usually have several, but I will get to them, I promise. I hope you have a wonderful week. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to a stranger. Make somebody smile. It makes their day and it makes you feel better about yourself. Mostly just be good to you, and I will see you on the board. Bye everybody.